Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast, presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Happy Jack Johnson Day. Woo! I'm Jay Zawaski with Greg Boysen and Mario Tirabassi. Greg and I, very patriotic today. Mario hates America. That's the only conclusion that can be drawn.
I missed the memo there. Whoops.
I
got red and blue.
American-born player on your shirt.
Yeah.
That counts. Oh, fine. You don't hate America, I suppose.
NHL 94.
I mean, that's
Patrick
a
Kane.
fantastic shirt.
That is a really cool shirt.
Yeah, that one wins.
Good job. Welcome in. We've got a lot to get to today. Not only are we going to discuss the Jack Johnson signing, that's where we're going to start. The Hawks made that official around 10 a.m. today. 1-year deal, $950,000 cap hit. The quarterfinals of the World Junior Championships begin today as well. Team USA drops the puck at 9:30 against Czechia.
Bright and early.
I got to remember to not say Czech Republic.
Yeah.
I know.
Czechia.
It's just, that's still confusing to me.
Yeah. I'm like, every other team I abbreviated except Czechia, so I said it right. So that's a 9. Canada plays Switzerland at 6. That's going to be a tough, intense matchup. And we've got some Pat Foley news to share later in the show. But let's start with the news of the day. First and foremost,
when does Sweden play?
Sweden plays at 2:30 against Latvia.
Victor Schönborg, Sweden.
Schönborg. The news of the day. And the hockey gods continue to smile upon us as we look at each other at the end of a show on Tuesday and go, thoughts on tomorrow?
I love when our show is produced without our input.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep. We'll figure it out. So there you have it. Another veteran signing. And I would imagine this is probably the last free agent signing of any sort of note the Blackhawks are going to make.
Phil Kessel?
It's
Yeah,
not.
Phil
It's
Kessel is
clearly
still
not
out there.
happening.
Yes, it is.
Oh, you say
not
that
with
now.
that attitude. It's
you
not,
say
sir.
that now. Clip that and play it when Phil Kessel is sitting right in here in this studio.
We got our own Debbie Downer
Well,
over
we
here.
might have to hire him as an analyst because he might need work.
Well, if he wants to do that too.
Yeah, see?
We're
So
open to
He
it.
could do both.
it's, honestly, before we get into Jack Johnson, if you look at some of the names still available,
It's crazy.
like PK Subban is still out there.
Subban.
There's a lot of
Paul Stastny.
Yeah.
You can build like a 2013 All-Star team.
Yeah.
The guys that are still out there.
Yes.
Kessel. Kadri has a contract.
It's
Question mark?
It's Lou Lamoriello
Like,
doing his
yeah.
weird, like, I'm not going to announce the deal until I feel like
he's
it
such a
thing.
crotchety goofball. Another guy that has ridden his reputation to a lot of jobs. Yes,
Yeah.
he did it fantastic for the Devils 20-some-odd years ago,
Right.
but what's he done recently except be old, weird, and crotchety?
Well, he's got that
Old,
down.
weird,
Well,
and
there you
crotchety.
go.
That's the Counting Crows
Hey,
album,
I mean,
isn't it?
yeah. In the NHL, it gets you pretty far to be old, weird, and crotchety.
Great super chat here from Brandon.
Brandon says he's
Brandon.
ready for the elite first pair of Johnson and Jones.
Johnson and Jones representing you in injury law.
Which Jones, though? Caleb
Take
or
that,
Seth?
Harold Ankin or
Doesn't
Howard
matter.
Ankin, whatever your name is.
No,
Man, that guy's got a budget, doesn't he? He's
Howard
got
Ankin?
Tim Anderson. He had Alex DeBrincat. He's
Io.
got two Io.
Io.
He's got 2 Sky players.
The Vanderquigs.
hey, you can
Yeah.
make a lot of money chasing ambulances in
I guess
Chicago.
that's Peter Francis Geraci is pissed.
Shout out to this guy. They begin
Bankruptcy.
their chance to repeat tonight.
Jack Johnson is the Master P of the Hawks. He's the colonel of the MF and tank. Someone Photoshop him riding the No Limit tank.
Okay.
Those are some references that are over my head.
I think the first thing we need to say is, yes, this is clearly a sign and flip situation, but you're not going to
Hopefully.
get what you're going to get for Domi or Athanasiou
No.
with
You
the deadline for
basically
Jack
signed
Johnson.
a 5th round pick, maybe.
Yeah, 4th, 5th round pick in hopefully one of the most historically deep drafts we've seen in a long time. Listen, there's no this. When I saw this trade, I kind of was just like, or this signing, I was just meh. Some people are like super upset.
I mean, I was a little surprised, but also I was just like, I definitely get what this
Yeah,
is
it
saying
was-
without saying it.
It
you
was
know?
a surprise, but
yeah.
I wasn't mad. I wasn't happy. It didn't move the needle for me at all. Like, listen, if you are trying to give yourself the best odds to get the number 1 pick, playing Jack Johnson 70 times a night helps you in that.
Someone
and heck,
someone on Twitter said subtraction by addition.
yeah, like for guys like Jay who are worried that maybe they might be too good, enter Jack Johnson.
This solves that
Don't worry
problem.
about it.
Yeah.
And listen, you're going to need some veteran guys. We've talked about that many times. You just can't have the Rockford Ice Hogs come up and play, especially at defense. Take your time. If I saw a lot of, this blocks prospects. What prospect? What prospect's getting blocked?
So here's my concern, and this was the one little thing about it I don't love. When you look at the D-core, Seth Jones, Jake McCabe, Riley Stillman, Caleb Jones, Jack Johnson, that's 5. Connor Murphy is 6. There's no Alex Vlasic in that mix. Now, of course, they might take Vlasic over Stillman or Jones or whatever.
Well, yeah, if you have Vlasic in the mix, then your 7th defenseman becomes like a Stillman
or Jones or whatever.
Which
is fine.
I'm not ready to anoint Alex Vlasic an NHL defenseman yet. Maybe let him get 40 games in the AHL. Yes, he improved.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
He improved in a very small sample size, but I'm not ready to declare him a third pairing NHL defenseman. And even if he shows that in training camp, what's wrong with him getting 30 or 40 games in the AHL?
Nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. But I also think, too, like, if a guy shows up and earns it and improves and works his ass off and shows leadership,
and then you tell Jack Johnson,
development
thanks for
camp.
coming out.
Yeah.
I do think, though, there has to be, and this is sort of where we're at with the Reichel thing, too. Like, I get patience, but if someone has shown you that they're ready, then give them the chance.
I think if we're looking at, who's the 6th defenseman for this team, I think there's a potential for one spot to be like, here, prospect, fill it. Could be Regula, could be Vlasic, could be Ian Mitchell.
That's the guy I would give it to first.
I think if one of those 3, or if all 3 of them rotate, who knows, in that kind of position, in the 6th defenseman rotation, I'm totally fine with that. And I think too, with signing Jack Johnson, it's a 1-year deal at league minimum. We don't have to. This isn't like, he's gonna completely derail the development of all these defensive prospects. It's 1 year. It's probably not even going to be a full season, and it's a little bit of an insurance policy for injuries, potential trades. Like, you might have a Connor Murphy or Jake McCabe on the move this year. You may have Connor Murphy, I don't want to say he's injury prone, but
he'll miss some games.
He might
miss some games,
He's going to miss some games.
So, I mean, we saw what happened last season with Kalanick and Jones going down prior to the preseason, and you needed bodies. Obviously, they went with Eric Gustafsson, but I think you need those kinds of NHL bodies to take up those minutes. Like you said, you can't just play the 6 best Ice Hogs and say, yes, that's development.
No,
you have to have
chaos.
patience, and in a season that is going to be really challenging and tough to get through as a player because there's going to be a lot of losses and pain. Confidence is a big deal in development, and if you throw a 21, 22-year-old out there to get their head beat in for 82 games, that's not going to do anything for their confidence. You have these young players that are going to be in Rockford. You have some minor league veterans that they've brought in to kind of help with that development as well. If you can build a winning culture in Rockford this season with those young players, they can then bring that confidence to the table in their development path, be more competitive in the AHL, and then when they get to the NHL level, they haven't had their confidence shot because, maybe I can't cut it in the NHL because I'm losing so much. You get a loser's mentality. If you get that winning mentality, that winning culture in the minor leagues, you build some confidence. When you get to the NHL, you're like, I know what it means and what it feels like to win, and I want to bring that to this level.
We've talked a lot about the Blackhawks stunting the development of some of their prospects and by having them here too early. And I recall a conversation I had with the team source a couple years ago about Henry Jokiharju. And I just sort of reached out like, hey, he looks pretty good. Is the team happy with his development? And this person who was not a fan of He Who Shall Not Be Named said, he's out there just surviving.
Mm-hmm.
He's out there just surviving. If you think about a duck on a pond, it looks calm, but the feet underneath the surface are just, flailing wildly.
Yeah.
That was a comparison that Source made to Henry Okaharu. Yeah, it looks okay. The eye test looks okay, but he can't play his game because all he's trying to do is hang on and survive and not make mistakes. A couple years later, I got a text from the same source out of the blue. Same thoughts about Adam Boquist.
Mm-hmm.
He's just trying to not make mistakes. And when you have a guy playing that way, that's the worst possible thing you can do. Playing to not make mistakes is how you make mistakes. Right? It's like another reference. It's like playing to not get injured is the best way to get injured.
Right.
A hockey player thinking on the ice is usually a bad hockey player. You got to be instinctual and just play the game.
And how much do we say that about Kirby Dach,
Absolutely,
right? Like
yeah.
you could literally see him processing things and thinking through his decisions. He's got a breakaway. He's close to the net. He's thinking, and he has no position to shoot because he thought too much. Now, but devil's advocate, and I think not so much Vlasic, because what was it, like 18 games or whatever it was for Alex Vlasic last year with Reichel. Yes, you want him to develop confidence. You want him to do well at Rockford. But he could also say, what more do I need to do in Rockford for me to earn a spot here in the NHL? You're telling me I'm not one of the 12 best forwards on this team? So it could have a reverse impact, too. Now, Reichel specifically doesn't seem to have that sort of personality.
No.
But I do think there is something to like, hey, you know what? You've proven it. Let's give you a look. And it doesn't have to be game one necessarily. But if Ian Mitchell or Alex Vlasic starts in Rockford and they look great, give them a shot sooner than later. Because I do think you run the chance of guys getting frustrated and feeling stuck. And that's kind of my concern.
Yeah.
But patience, sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Patience is better than rushing, but I don't want players to lose patience because they feel like they're being held back.
A player being overly ready, you'd rather that than not ready at all.
Sure, of course.
And with, if the Blackhawks had a mindset of patience and development with guys like Jokiharju and Boquist and Dach, we might not be in this position. We might be in a position where rebuild, quote unquote, already happened. And guys would be ready to go at now the early 20s stage of their careers rather than 18, 19 years old.
It could have been like a Penguins or a Bruins, where you're influxing your young talent with your older core to remain competitive. Not necessarily cup contenders, but you're rebuilding or retooling on the fly while still being competitive. I think that was the idea, but the execution was just piss poor.
Yes.
And you mentioned earlier the Ice Hogs. It's obvious that for the first time since they've been the Blackhawks affiliate, the Ice Hogs' success is important to the organization.
Yeah.
If you look at some of the moves they did this summer, they want to be the Chicago Wolves. They want to be that team that has long playoff runs for their young players. They brought Dylan Secura back to play in Rockford and score goals in the AHL because that's what he does.
You just reminded me that Dylan Secura is a Blackhawk again.
He's an Ice Hog.
I forgot.
He's an Ice Hog. Let's be honest.
Like that was
here.
like what, a month ago that happened? I completely forgot about that.
It was a month ago, 6 years ago.
Jeez.
They signed David Gust, who
won
the Calder Cup with the Wolves last year. Not a superstar, but that AHL guy that is going to be the contributor and scores the big goals when you need them. Huge signing, addition. Those are the type of guys you bring in with some young players.
Adam Clendenning.
Adam Clendenning is back, another AHL veteran. You put those guys in with, and you got a Garrett Mitchell who's there, who's going to be their team captain.
Great minor league captain.
Great, yes, he's a coach on the ice. Just a pro's pro. Will do all. He's got no ego about him at all. He knows his role and he does it perfectly. So you start throwing those guys in, and all of a sudden now you've got a team that doesn't just somehow squeak into the playoffs, win the 2-game qualifying series, and then get trampled by the Wolves. You got a team that, when you look at the Wolves pretty much lost everybody. That whole team got disbanded.
That's kind of
that's the
by
AHL.
design.
That's the AHL too, because now they're going to let the Hurricanes prospects come in and fill those roles. But you got a team that can be really good at the AHL, maybe make a deep run, maybe make a conference final, maybe things go right. Arvid Soderblom gets hot. You make the Calder Cup final. That's a good thing for guys like Ian Mitchell and Regula and Vlasic and Isaac Phillips, those young defensemen. Some of those young forwards that are going to be coming up. If Jalen Lipin is playing Rockford, that's huge for a guy like him. Get some winning early in the minor leagues. Learn what it's like to play playoff hockey. Have those things in your portfolio before you even step on an NHL ice, so those things don't come as a shock to you when you get there. Yes, going from AHL to NHL is a big jump, but the more success and the more you play in the AHL, that jump doesn't become as scary as it would just by going, here, kid, go for it.
Right.
Go play against Connor McDavid.
And I think we have to remember too, with the Blackhawks, prospects like when they come into the organization, guys like Alex DeBrincat, Patrick Kane, and Jonathan Toews hitting the ground running in the NHL is not the expectation. That's an anomaly. Guys like Brent Seabrook and Duncan Keith and Nicholas Hjalmarsson, like all these guys that had long Corey Crawford, these guys that had long, substantial careers took some extra time to play. Brent Seabrook was drafted in 2003, I think it was. He played another 2 seasons in junior before making the jump to the NHL on a terrible 2005 Blackhawks team. Duncan Keith played another season in college and the WHL, and then 2 full seasons in the AHL before getting to the NHL in 2005. Corey Crawford played 7 minor league seasons before he was a starter in the NHL. Taking time to develop guys and having them be ready to go when the team wants to be competitive again, it takes time, it takes patience, and it takes moves like these where you bring in a guy like Jack Johnson, who is just off the pile of free agents, play some NHL minutes. Maybe you get us not a lottery ticket, but maybe someone made the reference online today to like a church festival scratch off.
Yeah, give us a pull
get some pull tabs for Jack Johnson. Max Domi, Andres Athanasiou, they're here for a short time. Just see what you can get from these guys, because it's not about this year. It's not going to be about next year. I think the 24-25 season is where things really can open up and we can see where is this rebuild going and what is this team going to look like, because you have, that's not this season, not next season, but in 2 seasons we'll have to go. But that 24-25 season, you have, so if you look at the Blackhawks cap friendly, there's almost no one signed for that season.
Yeah.
Like forwards, defensemen, goalies, there's almost nobody outside of, a couple long-term
Seth
contracts.
Jones, Jake McCabe, Connor Murphy are the 3 players. Let's see. Also, Jalen Lipin, Colton Dock.
Prospects then.
Kevin Korchinski, Ethan Del Mastro, Nolan Allen. That is it in the entire franchise.
The NHL lineup is, in the next 2-3 seasons, is going to be wide open. So you kind of have to look at what the prospects are going to do, who may or may not be that like 22, 23, 24-year-old who's going to jump in and be ready to be in the NHL. Maybe there's a 20-year-old who's ready to jump in. They're going to have, who knows, maybe Patrick Kane sticks around. I don't know. And if you get a Connor Bedard or an Adam Fantilli, and they're likely to jump into the NHL within a year of being drafted, a year, 2 years, like you accelerate a lot of this, and you might have the salary cap jumps up. Like that 24-25 season, I know people are going to be like, you're being too optimistic. Well, what else can I be?
Right.
That 24-25 season, and especially with the free agents that summer that are potentially going to be on the market, there's a lot of flexibility the Blackhawks could have with their roster. And if the development path of a lot of these young guys go right, and it looks like they're trying to set up that path properly, I mean, we could see an actual competitive team in 3 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm being too optimistic, but I look at it and I'm just like, there's a lot of flexibility and options on the table. And if you get a handful of 22, 23, 24-year-olds that are ready to go at the NHL level and be competitive,
Look,
let's
Look,
open
don't
that
think-
window.
Yes, you're being optimistic, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But if they get Bedard or Fantilli, Michkov is a bit more of a wild card in
Little
terms
bit.
of when he would arrive because of the Russian things, and whoever else pops up between now and the draft, which could be 5 guys, who knows?
Right, yeah.
Right, this time last year, Shane Wright was the undeniable number 1. He went number 4. So a lot of things can change, but you get one of those 2 guys, and they join your team, and I think it's pretty likely they're going to pick in the top 3 this year. You get one of those 2 guys, and it does accelerate the timeline. And then you look at that free agent class there, and it's like, oh, okay. If you got a guy of that impact joining your organization, it does change the timeline of things. And yes, a lot can happen with that much flexibility. That's a really solid point. I want to get to the comment from Nate. He says, so will the Blackhawks be better together with Jack Johnson, or will they be sitting, waiting, wishing?
I love the Jack Johnson
nicely
references.
played.
I can't get enough of them.
That will be the theme all season.
Somebody said early in the chat, I don't remember who it was, that they were surprised that I knew Jack Johnson, that Bubble Toes was a Jack Johnson song.
You're a white man in your 40s.
Yes.
You know Jack Johnson.
I know Jack Johnson. And I also smoked a lot of pot in my 20s when those albums first came out. So, yes, I'm aware of Jack Johnson.
Jack Johnson was a really good way to let the ladies know you were a sensitive type.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
With some cargo shorts and a puka shell necklace.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
I never had the necklace. They didn't come in XXX because I have no neck.
Mine looked like, if I wore those, it looked like choker as opposed to a puka shell necklace.
Yeah. But yes, I did have the cargo shorts and the Birkenstocks and the whole deal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a look.
An acoustic guitar on your wall. You never played it, but you had it on your wall.
Yeah.
I did play it occasionally, not well, but yes, I had one on my wall. Song lyrics everywhere, the whole 9.
Yeah.
It worked. I'm married.
There you
It
go.
worked out. Hey, guess what, everybody? If you didn't know, football is close. We are 22 days away from the start of the NFL season, and PointsBet Sportsbook is counting down the days with a new offer every day until the season kicks off. From now until September 8th, PointsBet Power Hour will unlock a new daily offer from noon to 1 p.m. Central. Sign up for PointsBet now using the code CHGO to also get risk-free bets up to $2,000. Don't miss out on your chance to get daily access to free bets, boosted odds, and so much more now through September 8th. But that's not it. If you make a $51 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership that gets you all of our great web content and even a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. So download the PointsBet app today and use code CHGO to take advantage of this limited time offer. Don't just bet, live your bet life with PointsBet. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services.
And Chicago, that's you guys, at least most of you guys. You've already got the best coverage of your favorite teams thanks to our wonderful crew here at CHGO. So why don't you get fitted out in the best sports gear around? That's where you turn to our friends over at FOCO, because they've got you covered from Soldier Field to the front room, north or south, with hoodies, slippers, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. Get decked out like the news Blackhawk Jack Johnson and all your favorite apparel from the leader in sports merch and collectibles, FOCO. Looking for the perfect gift for the football fan or hockey fan or NBA fan? Fall sports are right around the corner. It's crazy to say that, but it's true.
Pumpkin spice season.
Thank you.
I saw pumpkin spice Cheerios yesterday.
I knew Lawrence liked pumpkin
I
spice.
actually hate it and do not ever drink it, but
He
I just
sips
thought
it
I'd
while listening to his
like
train
what you like
albums.
without judgment. The world's on fire. Enjoy it.
I don't mind pumpkin spice. But
Sorry.
anywho, back to our friends over at FOCO. Maybe they sell some pumpkin spice scented Blackhawks hoodies. I don't know. But head over to
Scented
FOCO,
hoodie.
FOCO.com,
Interesting.
and check it out. Type in pumpkin spice in the search bar. See what pops up. You never know. FOCO has literally everything you can imagine. So maybe there is something pumpkin-y on FOCO. Again, that's FOCO.com. Or if you're watching on YouTube, you can scroll just below the 3 handsome gentlemen
after you
on your
smash
screen
the like
there.
button.
Smash that like button, and just below that, there will be a link to FOCO in the description and an added bonus, Type in the promo code CHGO at checkout, and you receive 10% off all non-presale items. That is foco.com.
I think we got a pretty good merchandise idea going here. We got
Scratch and sniff pumpkin spice stickers.
some scented hoodies. That'd be
Scented
that'd
hoodie.
be
Well, my
interesting.
hoodies are all scented, just not very nicely scented. All of my hoodies eventually become scented. One way or the
CHGO
other.
scented hoodies. We could have one smell like
Chicago
Wrigley
hot
Field
dog.
grass,
Some
some hot
turf,
dogs, some beefs.
Some Soldier Field spray paint.
Yeah.
Since they
A
don't
urinal
actually have
cake.
grass there.
Yeah. We have it smell like the kitchen today.
We're gonna have the trough
Yeah.
smell.
Yeah.
Oh,
there you go.
that sounds lovely.
Stale beer and Polish
Yeah.
sausage.
That's what mine smell like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In case you're
Well,
curious.
they'll be scented hoodies because we'll wear them and we'll have lunch and then we'll
Yeah, right.
and then we'll
That
sell
adds
You could-
value.
You could
It's like
order. You can
Cracker Barrel.
order game worn hoodies.
Pod
CHGO
worn.
You could
show
you could- you could-
worn.
You could pick which host you want to smell like. We can make like $3 off of
There
it.
you go.
At least.
At least.
$3. All right, have we exhausted our Jack Johnson content?
We need more.
We need
We
more
need more
Johnson
Jack
talk.
Johnson.
Here's
please.
a fun little tidbit about Jack Johnson before we move on. As I was doing my Jack Johnson research, looking up all the points he's picked up in his career, which is not a lot.
More than me.
Fun little tidbit. When he was traded to the remember when the Columbus Blue Jackets signed Jeff Carter, and then Jeff Carter was like, I hate it here, and they went, whoopsie, and they traded him back to the Kings after like
I
3
forgot
weeks.
about that.
Yeah. Well, Jack Johnson went the other way from the Kings to the Blue Jackets along with a first-round pick, and the Blue Jackets used that first-round pick to select future Blackhawks legend Marco Dano.
Hey,
Wow.
Yes, that was and
that was a fun fact.
And Jeff Carter wore, I remember Jeff Carter wore number 7 with the Blue Jackets for literally like 3 games. So Jack Johnson, when he got traded to Columbus, he wore number 7, and the Blue Jackets literally said, if you bought a Jeff Carter number 7 jersey, bring it to the store at the stadium, and we
We'll
will
switch
change
out the
nameplates
names.
for free.
Wow.
Our bad.
That's nice.
Jeff
That's
Carter's
awesome.
a peen, and we will erase it from our...
We're going to change the name to Pudwack.
Yeah, maybe his supplier couldn't get him stuff in Columbus.
I just wonder what about Columbus in such a short time would be so offensive that you had to get
Well,
out.
if you live
I
a
don't
certain
know.
lifestyle like Jeff Carter allegedly does, and you've come from LA and you go to Ohio, things might not be easily accessible,
That's a big difference, yeah.
Yeah,
or
Allegedly.
quality
Could
might
be
not
true.
be as good.
Sure.
So,
Fair.
do
the Ohio State campus is right there.
Yeah.
Do you think Jack Johnson is given number 7?
No,
In
he better
Chicago.
not be. I don't
Oh,
think
gosh.
anybody should have that yet.
That'd be rude.
Interesting.
No. I don't
Brandon
think so.
has a
Probably
$2 super chat for you guys saying
Elite
Elite
Jack Johnson T-shirt.
Jack Johnson
Sure.
T-shirt.
Yeah. Let's send
We
it to the
just
designers.
we need a Blackhawks.
What was the
CHGO
what was the DNVR Jack Johnson shirt? Can they just scratch out
Yeah.
DNVR and put
I
CHGO?
don't think there was.
It was
one.
maybe in the style of like the old Big Johnson shirts. Remember those?
Yeah, those
You
were-
might not. Do you remember those?
Big Johnsons?
Very problematic Big Johnson shirts.
Yeah.
Can't say.
Yeah, they were like
That
they
was
were
the
all
90s.
like rough. They were all innuendo,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like
Of course.
Yes,
Big
a lot of
Johnson
color
garden
caricatures
hose. Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah, it
maybe
was-
that's what we can do. All right, the jersey number history for Jack Johnson: 33, 3,
That's a goalie number.
7,
Retired. Nah.
73. Can't do that. Brandon Peary.
Brandon Peary.
27.
Taken.
Can't do that. I'm thinking it's 33 for Jack Johnson.
It's a goalie number.
Dustin Bufflin wore it. Dirk Graham wore it.
All right, I stand corrected.
Yes.
Yeah, I love
You know, there
Um,
have been more 33s than just Scott Darling Mario.
Yes, that is true.
Give him number 70.
70. Dennis
73 is kind
Rasmussen.
of cool.
Yeah, but I mean, he'd have to ask the Moose, Dennis
Yeah.
Rasmussen, if he could have it. But 70 would be, or 77.
70.
Is his
my favorite number.
His brother Eric wears 6, right? So he doesn't have to fight McCabe for it.
No.
I trying to not confuse the two of them.
I'm usually pretty good at predicting these things, like just based on context.
Can he wear 07? Is
I'm
that
gonna
an
bet
option?
he.
007.
I'm gonna bet he wears 33. That's my official
33?
prediction.
Okay.
Official prediction? Anyone?
I think he will wear number 37.
Okay. You can agree with me if you want to be right.
Yeah,
it's okay.
might as well. Yeah, we'll say he wears 33.
Smart pick.
All right.
If I'm right, you got to pay my Stan Bowman. Damn it!
It's now up to
No.
You got to pay 3 of my 4 Stan Bowman dollars.
No.
Oh, 5.
Oh! Hey!
I'm not paying crap.
I gotta go. I'm leaving.
That was
I'm broke.
great.
Well, at least now you don't have to get singles. You've got all the way up
Yeah,
to
there you go. I have
crisp
to break
new
it. Just put
$5
in a
bill.
link.
Oh God! I just did it just like that. Oh,
Hey,
too
it's all right.
unintentional.
That was great.
That's okay.
That was organic.
There's going to be a local charity that's going to benefit from all this.
I
at
guess
some
so.
point.
Yeah, we
It's
gotta
all going
update
to
the
a good
IOU.
cause.
Oh Lord, that's brutal. That was
was
completely
That
unintentional.
was fantastic.
Oh man.
77, you'd have to ask Blackhawks legend Paul Coffey. Yeah. If you have a Doc jersey, bring it to the Madhouse store, and
Yeah.
they'll change it out for a Johnson if you really, really want that.
Yeah, Chris
no, they
Dubio makes a
probably
good
won't.
point. If they didn't give Jokiharju number 10 because of Patrick Sharp,
There's
they're
no
not
way
going to give number 7 to
they're
Johnson.
giving him 7. No, you can't. No, I know it's not retired, but
It will be eventually.
yeah. And if you're going to give it to somebody, you got to give it to somebody that's better than
That's
Jack
not
Johnson.
Jack Johnson.
Yeah.
Somebody's
who's
going to be here for more than
Well,
45
yeah.
games.
Yeah.
Korchinski,
Well, you thought
number
maybe
7.
that was
There you
should have
go.
been our first indication that Jokiharju wasn't going to be here long when they wouldn't give him number 10.
Maybe.
Well, what was he? 28.
Yeah.
Which is a
So
number
they gave
she should not be allowed
Steve
to wear
Larmer's
either.
number instead.
Yeah. Well,
That's a little more egregious to me than 10.
Yeah.
Hey, we all love Patrick Sharp and Tony Amonte, but neither of them were Steve Larmer.
No.
no.
We gotta
it's
figure this out.
it's-
This is a total aside. What is the deal with the Steve Larmer thing? With the Hall of Fame and the Hawks retiring his number, why is it not happening?
I don't know. I think are they worried about like, oh, then you have to retire this or bring this
See,
person in the Hall of Fame? Who cares?
Yeah, I think this is, and we'll have this conversation down the road, but we're approaching, because of the dynasty, the Ring of Honor territory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You
It has
know.
to be something like that.
Yeah, something needs to happen where
Don't retire the jersey, but you honor the player's
honor
name.
the players.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's the best way to do it.
Or you're going
'Cause-
to be like the Montreal Canadiens, who literally their roster numbers is like 51 through 86. There's
Yeah.
nobody under the number
there's no
40.
cool numbers left.
Yeah,
No-
nobody has
no
single,
single
digits,
digits,
no
nothing, yeah.
no teens, no 20s, because they're all retired.
I'm looking it up. Canadians retired numbers.
There's got
1
to be
through
like
all of them.
38.
there's got to be like at least 20, right?
Oh, easily.
Let's see. 7, 9, 4, 16, 10, 2, 1. This could have gone in numerical order, hockey writers.
I was going to say, why
Looking
is
at
this
you.
going?
Yeah, I didn't cover the Canadians.
That's
5,
7.
18,
You could go to Hockey
29.
Reference. They'll lame them. They'll have them all up at the top. Or as Lawrence has got us on the screen, there's 14 retired numbers in Montreal.
That's an article from 2009.
Well, have
Oh,
they
yeah.
had anybody
Yeah,
good
yeah.
since then?
That's a good question.
They could. I mean, have they retired numbers since 2009?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question.
All right.
A lot. They have a lot. Let's just put it that way. That's a lot of numbers.
This is where you go to the
That's
Hockey
ridiculous.
Reference. They will list their
Hockey,
numbers
yeah, Hockey
right
Reference
at the
will
top.
have it.
Let's see here. Where are the
Another
Canadians?
interesting Jack Johnson note as you guys are looking that up. Lawrence, if you have the oh, there they are. If you have the
Yeah.
tweet from the chat, Jack Johnson and his family is very athletic.
Oh,
Not only did he have his children baptized directly in the Stanley Cup, which is banana pancakes.
Bonanza.
His brother-in-laws are AJ Hawk and Brady Quinn. So that is quite.
Everything about that is just weird.
That's such a Mad Libs of a situation. Like, Jack Johnson baptized his children in the Stanley Cup with his brother-in-laws AJ Hawk and Brady Quinn. Like, what the? That's
Yeah.
insane. That is
Jack,
insane.
So is Jack's married to AJ Hawk's sister? Is that the?
No, I think AJ Hawk and Brady Quinn are married to Johnson sisters.
Okay.
They're
Oh,
his
yeah.
brother-in-laws.
Oh, right. I remember that, the Notre Dame Ohio State game where they showed
Yeah,
the
they're
sister in
married.
like the split jersey.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Eh. I don't know. There's so
Anyways,
many
that's-
weird
that's
things.
pretty
The
about
wild.
that
what,
tweet.
by the way, what kind of church is that?
One of those.
I mean-
It's like the Righteous Gemstone situation
Yeah,
going on there. That is
could
like
be.
yeah, that's a
Big
church that gets a
big
lot
stage.
of donors. Yeah.
It's a big stage.
that is a
for a
large
church.
stage.
But hey, I mean, you get baptized in the Stanley Cup.
That's a good start. Draft that kid.
Yeah.
By the way,
You
it's
better pan out to be an
15
athlete.
total numbers by
15.
the Montreal Canadiens retired. So they have retired one since, I think Patrick Waugh was the latest one to get retired.
There you go. That's pretty worthy.
Here are the numbers retired. One, two,
Waugh was on
three-
my 2009 list. So
Okay.
There you go.
I don't want to.
Well, I don't know who's there
Who
then.
have we
It's
added?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's Dark Helmet's
That's
luggage
the-
company.
That's my suitcase code.
Yeah, I think that was the combination for a safe at Malargo too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10. So 6 and 8
and
are the
8.
only two numbers between
That's
1
Shea
through 10
Weber and
available.
Shea
Ben
Weber.
Sherratt recently.
10, 12, 16, 18, 19, 23, 29, and 33. So
Off
yeah.
the top of my head, I feel like the Canadians also said something about retiring Saku Koivu, number 11.
That would make sense.
But yeah, don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
I feel like I heard that at some
So-
point, or that it would happen at some point.
Yeah,
Anyways.
basically half of the numbers between 1 through 30 are not available in Montreal.
Yeah, so it's yeah.
The Wild are retiring Mikko Koivu's jersey.
Maybe that's
I
what I,
just
was
found
thinking
that.
of.
Saku Koivu is a beloved player in Montreal.
Yeah,
Very good guy. A guy that's in my fantasy hockey league years ago. Remember when Saku Koivu had to sit out a season for some sort of cancer treatment? I don't remember exactly what it was.
I can't remember.
He
that,
missed
no.
a season because he had to go through some chemo. This was back in the day. This was 90s. So a buddy of mine wrote him a letter and sent him a card just saying, hey, I'm a hockey fan from Chicago, but you're one of my favorite players. Just
Well
wishing you
wishes, yeah,
good
yeah.
luck. 3 months later, he got a handwritten thank you letter from Saku Koivu in the mail.
That's awesome.
So if he sent it to some random Blackhawks fan, there had to be thousands of cards and letters he got from
That's
Montreal
cool.
that he took the time to
Probably,
handwrite
yeah.
a thank you letter to him. So that's my
pretty
Saku
crazy.
Koivu story.
That's awesome.
So yeah, once I heard that, I was like, tons of respect for the dude.
Yeah, I've always liked him. He's just a good player, a longtime captain, and yeah, I don't see anything official about it getting done, but it feels like at some point.
I think maybe I was flip-flopped on the Koivus, but yeah, maybe, who knows.
Yeah, it's interesting nonetheless because
Anyways.
I think that you look at him like his body of work as a player isn't probably up to snuff with the great Canadians of all time. But when you look at his impact, his tenure as captain, what he overcame, and what he means to the city, that's kind of like the Keith Magnuson retirement.
Yeah.
Right? Similar.
Well, the fact that he was captain of the Montreal Canadiens for as long as he was and didn't speak a lick of French tells you how
Yes.
well they loved him up there. That's
Exactly.
a big deal.
Yeah, definitely. We should get to some of the other items of the day. The World Junior Championship quarterfinal round is underway now, actually. Germany and Finland are playing. Don't turn it on until the show's over. Thank you. Then you've got Latvia and Sweden at 2:30, Switzerland and Canada at 6, and then Czechia and the U.S. at 9:30. This feels like, fellas, a two-team tournament. Are you
Yeah.
kind of in agreement there?
It-
It's
it-
USA, Canada, and everybody else?
It does. It really it does feel like the Final Four are going to be pretty predictable of maybe a Finland, Sweden, U.S., Canada
Yeah.
matchup. Yeah, I think if you watch if you watch some of the games that weren't Canada and the U.S., I think you see a little bit of the talent gap there. Yeah, I would love to see a really competitive semifinals matchup. So I think we're going to get those. But yeah, I think it really just seems like it was destined for this tournament to finish with a Canada-U.S. final.
Do they reseed for the semis, or is it a straight-up bracket?
I think it's a bracket.
Okay. So Canada, the United States would meet in the gold medal. That's the way it's set up,
If
right?
if they get through, that would be
So you would have, ideally, Canada versus either Finland or Sweden. I don't know what the bracket is there. I think it would be Sweden because Finland was in their group. So I think it would be, if the favorites win, it would be Canada, Sweden in this one semi, U.S., Finland in the other.
So the standings are, well, it's kind of, Finland was 4-2-1. I'm sorry, it was 2-1, 0-1 in the round robin. Sweden was 3-0. So Sweden has a seed over Finland.
But I think it's
It would
bracket-wise. They don't want teams that played in the same group playing each other in the.
You know, it looks like, actually, as I'm looking here on the IIHF website, the way they have the bracket set up, I don't know if it's just by the start times or if this is the bracket, but it looks like it could be a Canada-U.S. semifinal.
I don't think that's true because they both won their groups. There's no way you would have the two group winners playing in the semis. I think it's. I don't think that's the bracket.
Okay, here we go. Top 4 placed teams from the preliminary will play a crossover quarterfinal, 1A versus 4B, 1B versus 4A, so on and so forth. In the semifinals, the best ranked team
so they do
will play against the lowest ranked semifinalist.
So it's not a straight bracket.
The second ranked semifinalist will play the third.
So there's no way Canada-U.S. could play in the semis.
What do we know what the tiebreakers are? I don't want to jump this
goals,
on you.
I think it's goal differential.
Criteria, placement in group, points in preliminary round, goal difference in the preliminary round, goals scored.
Okay, so Canada has a 20-point goal differential.
Well, they're
the U.S. has 18.
Right.
So Canada is
the
1,
host,
U.S. 2.
if qualified or otherwise the best ranked semifinalist according to the before mentioned criteria shall play the first game of the day.
I would not.
So, I think it'll.
It should
Canada
be
and U.S. I think one and 2.
But I am not counting out. I'm not counting out Czechia to upset the U.S. here. I mean, we talked
say
about
that with your American Macho Man Randy Savage
because
shirt on?
I'm a realist here. Now, if Macho Man was starting in goal for the U.S., they'd get the gold medal. They'd snap into the gold medal.
Let me tell you something about.
But I mean, Chris Peters told us before the tournament that the goaltending, no Drew Comesso, could be the difference between a medal and not for the U.S.
That's true.
And the goaltending's been fine, but the defense has been really good.
Defense has been great.
The goaltending hasn't had to be good.
U.S. only gave up 4 goals so far in the tournament.
And a lot of that has to do because they haven't been giving up a lot of shots.
Right.
But that third period of the Sweden game made me a little itchy, and Sweden has Jesper Wallstedt in goal, who has been underwhelming a little bit, but he's the type of goalie that could steal you a winner-take-all type of game.
It's true.
I would not be shocked if either Finland and or Sweden is in that gold medal game that they pull off. Finland just live
to
for
play spoiler.
international hockey medals. I would not rule out either one or both of those teams playing for gold where they upset the U.S. or Canada.
Yeah.
I don't count out the Norwegian countries in these tournaments.
You know me and the Finns. I love the Finns.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I've watched a lot of this tournament, and I just think, and you're right, it's a 1-game playoff.
Yeah,
so,
a lot of these teams are like, hey, we know we're getting to the quarters. Let's just get through this.
I'm hoping the slight scare the U.S. had against Sweden maybe scares them straight a little bit, where they're like, okay, we can't take our foot off the gas at all because teams have the ability to come back on us pretty quickly here.
Yeah.
So
it's
interesting.
I've got the stats here for our 5 Blackhawks prospects who are playing in the tournament. Ethan Del Mastro for Canada. This was a guy that probably we thought maybe get 1 game. He played in 3 of the 4 preliminary games.
Yeah, did not expect him to be playing that much.
So maybe he's a guy that he's obviously given them a reason not to take him out of the line. He has no points, but he's a +2 in his 3 games. He's playing third pairing, not major minutes. But the fact that he's played in 3 of the 4 games, they put him in the second game, and they haven't taken him out since then. So they're obviously the coaching staff likes what they see. Let's see if he gets into these elimination games. Everybody else has played in all 4 games for their teams. Landon Slaggert has been the best. Points-wise, he's got 2 goals and 5 points and is a +6 in 4 games for Team USA. Defenseman Wyatt Kaiser has got a goal and 3 points. He's a +5 through 4 games. And then Dominic James has 1 assist and is a +1. But he's been a really effective face-off guy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Really great without the puck defensively. He's showing you that, like, what type of player he's going to be. He's not a guy that's being relied on for points, but he's a guy on getting puck possession for his team and keeping puck possession for his team, which is so important in today's game. And then we got our buddy Victor Schornberg with Sweden. He doesn't have a point yet in the tournament, but he's a +2 in 4 games.
He's been playing a depth role for
he's a
Sweden.
defensive He's not getting any penalties.
More energy guy.
Yeah, he's bottom 6, but that's his game too. That Sweden team has got a lot of former first-round picks, offensive players. He's not being looked upon to score goals, and therefore he doesn't have any.
A little bit of breaking news here before we keep going into the World Juniors. Scott Powers of The Athletic reporting the Blackhawks are signing college free agent and former Lightning prospect Cole Gutman. Gutman most recently played for the University of Denver. He is a right-handed shot centerman. He's 23 years old, 45 points in 41 games for Denver last year, 4 full seasons with Denver. So a guy that could be a roster player for the Hawks this year, perhaps Rockford fodder. You never know.
Hey,
but
you can have the 1-2 punch of Gutman and Chad Yetman in Rockford. Yetman, Gutman.
There you go.
There you go.
So 5'10", 1. This is Hockey DB, so this could be outdated. Listed at 5'10", 165. Right-handed shot centerman, born April 6, 99. So an older college free agent here.
According to Powers, it is a 2-year entry-level deal, and he is expected to start the upcoming season with the Rockford Ice Hawks.
And as our buddy Chris Dubio points out, they have Mike Hardman down there. They have the
Hardman.
man line. Too much man down in Rockford. We got
so much man, so many Johnsons.
We got all the Johnsons in Chicago and all the man you need in Rockford. We are a very phallic organization right now.
Sausage fest down here.
It really is. It really is.
That's what we need. We need a CHGO Blackhawks shirt with the characters from what was that movie, Sausage Fest?
Yeah.
And it could just be all the Johnsons, CHGO Blackhawks shirt.
Sure.
Show us your Johnsons.
Yeah. Might as well.
All the Johnsons.
CHGO Johnsonville.
What do we think, though? If it is Canada-USA in the gold medal game, Canada's just... and again, it's one game. Anything can happen, of course. But Canada's just a juggernaut.
Anything less than a gold medal for Canada is a failure.
Yes, and it should be.
Yes,
it should be thought of as such.
And if they don't win a gold, it's a major upset.
Yeah,
they're the best team, no doubt. But in a one-game single elimination tournament, you run into a hot goalie. Your goalie has a Mike Smith moment. You can be done. You get Nick Lettied in an overtime game, and it's done. That's the beauty of the single elimination. Yes, Canada should win the gold, but hockey is a dumb, weird sport where the best team doesn't always win, especially in a one-game situation.
Was it a medal game where Fleury was in goal and a puck deflected behind him? Was that World Juniors?
That was last year.
No,
that was every Blackhawks
several Hawks games. But I think there was a World Junior game where Marc-Andre Fleury was in goal, and a puck this is before I was really paying close attention to it. A puck snuck behind him, and it was a very Nick Leddy situation.
I can't say I recall that.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know.
No, but I think U.S. defending gold medal men's World Junior champions. Not that really means that much to this tournament, but
if they had Drew Comezzo, I would like their chances against Canada.
Yeah. I think top to bottom, Canada really doesn't have too many holes in their lineup, and the U.S. if there is a potential spot that could be exposed, it is goaltending. If it's Canada U.S., obviously I'm going to be waving my American flag and wearing my American flag underwear and going shouting at the rooftops.
Don't
for
do
the
that
USA,
on the podcast. Maybe the audio only podcast for that.
Did you get that USA underwear from Foco?
Yes.
There you go. See, company man.
I
right
would
here.
say that I would. But yeah, I still think though, lineup to lineup, I would trust the Canadians to come out on top. But yeah, like we've said, anything can happen. The U.S. has more Blackhawks prospects, so they are probably better.
Yeah.
So
good way to look at it.
that's
Plus,
how I would go by
but
it.
Bedard is a Blackhawks prospect technically.
Yes, he is.
That's true.
Yes. In my
Maybe
mind,
maybe he can double agent it for
Secret agent.
his U.S. buddies and be like, my leg hurts.
We've been doing a
Can't
bad
play in
job
the
at
final.
taking his value, like we said we were going to do. Just start spreading rumors
but then
about
the
him.
Blackhawks signed Jack Johnson. It's like, here comes the number one pick. We don't need.
maybe
We don't need to
do
tank his
it
value.
anymore.
Just
Exactly.
lose every game.
Yeah, good point.
Brendan says in the chat, when is the CHGO Ice Hog podcast going to happen? Don't worry. There'll be
Every
plenty
other
of
podcast,
pretty
will be an
much.
Ice Hawks podcast.
Listen, become a member at CHGO. Get yourself a free shirt. we are going to cover the Blackhawks prospects like nobody else in this city will. Mario and I are already got a game plan going. We're going to divvy up the prospects. We're going to have weekly articles, keeping you up to date on what everybody's doing. Joey Z, the fabulous play-by-play guy of the Rockford IceHogs, I've talked to him. We've got a great relationship with the team. He's willing to be a weekly guest to keep us up to date, get us some IceHogs players during the course of the season. We will keep you abreast of the IceHogs because, quite frankly, what happens in Rockford these next 3 to 4 seasons is more important than what happens in Chicago. So we will keep our eyes to there as well. Like it's once the season starts, it's going to be like probably more prospect talk than actual Blackhawk game talk. Like, because that's more important. People want to know more about what's happening with the guys who are going to be here in 2 or 3 years than what.
Yeah, I think
how many goals Jack Johnson let in.
Our post games will be very Blackhawks focused, but then
but the rest of the week,
the rest of the week will be a lot of prospect stuff.
Yeah,
sure.
We'll definitely have it thrown in there. It'll be well represented throughout the season.
That's the beauty of having 3 guys covering a team as opposed to just one guy and all the other beats. We can focus on other things as opposed to just Blackhawks.
Right.
We can broaden our horizons and keep you up to date on. And as I said, Mario and I have got good relationships within the minor leagues and the junior league. So I'm hoping we're going to be able to get a lot of these prospects on the show throughout the course of the season.
Absolutely. And we might even make some CHGO little road trips to see some of these prospects playing in college and see what they can do.
Yes, I will make some trips out to Rosemont when the schedule allows it to see the Hawks and the play at the Wolves, and I plan on making a couple of trips out to Rockford at the very least to see how they're doing, talk to some guys. Hopefully there's an actual press area and Wi-Fi that works. But
would be nice, yeah.
You know, can't be too greedy.
They just updated that state-of-the-art facility across the street, so hopefully we've told the Hawks Brass about the Wi-Fi issues in Rockford, and
we are not the first to tell them that.
No.
Yeah.
If we can get a decent connection there, potential live broadcast, that opens up a lot of possibilities for us. So don't worry, we'll have it totally covered. All right, before we wrap up, the last bit of news. If you missed this, Pat Foley is going to call the Cardinals-Cubs game at Wrigley Field next Tuesday. Innings 1 through 3 and 7 through 9 will be on 670 The Score, and innings 4 through 6 on Marquee. So radio or TV, you are covered. Pat Foley will be on the call of the Cubs game, and I've heard him do this before. This had to be 25 years ago, 30 years ago. I just remember him calling a Cubs game, probably with Steve Stone, and he did a fine job. He is a Cub fan. He knows baseball. It'll be good to hear Pat again. That's for sure.
Just don't do your Harry Carey impersonation the whole time.
He's going to.
It's going to come
No,
up.
I know he's going to do it. Just don't give me 9 innings of Pat Foley.
Oh, no,
doing
he
Harry
won't.
Carey.
No. He calls the game.
That's why every time they say, Ryan Dempster's in the booth, get out. Stop.
He's actually, I think Dempster's kind of stopped doing that impersonation. I think he got the message. He's social media savvy enough to see that literally everyone hates it.
Yeah.
So he stopped, and he's actually turned into a really good game analyst. But yeah, just put the Harry Carey impressions away. But stop.
Check out the guy in the sombrero.
That's enough. That's enough.
Well, if you're going to do a Harry Carey impersonation, then you got to have somebody in the production truck doing his Ernie Harris impersonation, but that might get you in trouble.
Yes.
Can we just get a hologram of Pat Foley doing the Harry Carey impression?
Those 80s WGN Cubs broadcasts were
And 90s.
horny AF.
And early 2000s.
Yeah.
Why am I a Cub fan?
Hey, sex sells.
What was the timeline you gave?
Basically, since
80s and 90s?
anytime
Checks out.
Anytime Ernie Harris was the producer.
It went past Ernie. I'm pals with one of the guys who used to do it as well, and I remember him telling me when they got the memo to stop doing that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was creepy, but it served its purpose.
yeah, I've spent some time in the truck outside of Wrigley when you see all 18 screens of all the cameras, and half of them were looking for certain things.
I'm sure you saw lots of not safe for work things while
it wasn't.
the cameras
It isn't public. It wasn't that crazy. But
but there's beer involved, and people lose inhibitions. Show feet.
There you go. All right, so Pat Foley, Tuesday, 1 through 3 and 7 through 9 on the Score.
The Cubs are
4 through
doing
6 on
things to
Marquee.
be like, please watch us.
They have to.
So Blackhawks, what are you doing?
They may also do the same thing.
Yeah, Pat Foley's back. for one game or something.
We've got to be getting an announcement here soon.
You would hope.
On who is the
Who's
new
gonna be the
partner of Chris
broadcaster?
Foster's.
Yeah.
See, this is my problem. And I know this might rub some people the wrong way, but does this mean we're not going to get the Zach Zabin inning for the score?
No, you will get the obnoxious laughter in the background, though.
Because I don't listen to a lot of Cubs games these days, but it seemed that when I was like focused more on the Cubs, I'd get in the car just in time for the Zach Zabin inning, and I'd want to run my car into a brick wall as fast as possible.
When he calls the game, it's fine. It's when he's cackling in the background that's ridiculous. It's slightly funny observation. Jesus, it like echoes through the stadium.
His
People are, like,
over
startled by it.
enunciation of every word drives me up the freaking wall.
He's a Syracuse guy.
Yeah,
he's better at broadcasting than everybody.
Has he
Don't
ever
forget.
mentioned that on air before?
Yes.
Yes. This is why I root for Syracuse and Northwestern to lose whatever sporting event they're playing in, because I'm tired of hearing about sports guys that went to Syracuse or Northwestern.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Or Mizzou.
There's a lot of them.
Shh, Kevin's right there.
Oh, shh. He's not listening.
Yeah.
He's got some sort of spreadsheet.
Yeah, he's coming out to fire
Did I say
you.
people to
Mizzou.
fire? Oh, boy. Well, it's been a good run, fellas.
Yep. All right.
All right, tell us about Owen.
Oh, yeah. I
Before
should
we
probably
leave.
do that. Owen, spelled OWYN, stands for Only What You Need, is a plant-based protein shake, 100% plant-based protein shake that works just as hard as you do for your nutrition and your workout benefits. All of Owen's products are free of artificial ingredients. They don't contain any gluten or dairy and are allergen-friendly. They're also very easily digestible. Might have heard about Owen from Bears quarterback Justin Fields, who also follows a plant-based diet. Right now, Owen and CHGO are partnering up to give you an awesome offer. You can get 20% off of your first purchase at liveowen.com when you use the promo code CHGO20. That's liveowen.com, promo code CHGO20, 20% off of your first purchase of Owen. OWYN, only what you need.
All right. Jack Johnson's a Hawk. Pat Foley's calling the Cubs game. Team USA drops the puck at 9:30 tonight. We're back tomorrow, 11 a.m., Throwback Thursday, unless news breaks. We are going to revisit the Jeremy Roenick trade.
Ugh, I thank goodness Sarah's doing tomorrow's show. I'd be too angry the whole time.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one, but I think we've all got a lot of personal insight on that, and I think every Hawks fan of a certain age remembers that day. I know exactly where I was when it happened. We'll talk about the trade, the fallout, and all the personal stories that go along with it tomorrow at 11. Thanks to Lawrence for producing the show. For Greg and Mario, I'm Jay. Thanks for watching and listening to the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.